Good morning, Liz.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Recovering.
Oh,
It's all right. I have a thing I'm kind of trying to eradicate in my digestive system, and it's going so. Last night was not a good night, so I didn't sleep very
ugh,
well.
that
We're
sucks.
getting there. And the icing on the cake is my computer is completely dead this morning. So I guess my delay in getting a new one is over. I need to figure out if I'm gonna get another Apple, if I'm gonna get a PC. And I need to make that decision quickly because everything's on the computer and I have no access to nothing until then. Good times. What are you working on? Do you have any Apple or a PC?
Apple. But it was a PC until about, I don't know, 10, 12, 14 years ago, 15.
Yeah.
Sometime in my real estate. And I think it was like around 2009, maybe, or 10, because I distinctly remember that for my birthday, we decided that I was going to get an Apple and switch over to Apple. And on my birthday on the same day, which by the way, in Washington state means your license is due. So
Oh,
license
boy.
due, new app, happy birthday, pay a bunch of money to take a test. Anyway,
Exactly.
license due, new Apple computer for my PC. And they switched over our MLS to a whole new system, not just an update,
Man.
a whole new system. So, and of course they gave us like maybe 3 months or whatever to get used to the new MLS, but
Mhm.
I never did that.
I've never worked on nothing but Apple and I've been happy with it, except I'm just kind of irritated that I don't know, there's some things.
What is your computer?
It's time. I mean, I guess in terms of Apple's life cycle, it's time. It's probably 2.5 years old.
Oh, my apples last a long time.
How
My
long does yours last?
um, my one that I got in 2010 lasted till 2 years ago. I had to, or a year
Really?
ago. No, it lasted. No, I take that back. My old Apple was maybe 2014 or something like that. And it lasted until last year. I just got this new one last year. And I was a little pissed. Maybe it was 2012, whatever. It was a good long chunk of time, right? And I was a
Yeah.
little peeved because the only reason I had to get a new one, there was nothing wrong with it. And I beat the crap out of this thing.
Mhm.
It's because the world won't work on it. It just wouldn't
Yes.
work. That's why I had to get a new one. So
See,
that's the
mine
only
I
reason.
bought in 2019. I thought I'd get a longer, well, okay, so maybe it's longer than 2.5 years. I thought I'd get a longer life out of it than I am, but it's completely dead. Like yesterday when I logged onto this call, it was wonky. I could, I had to log onto my iPad, which I did this morning. And this morning I went to go turn it on. Like won't even turn on at all. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
What kind of Mac do you have, Liz?
I have the MacBook Air.
Yeah, it should definitely have last longer because before mine, I had a MacBook Air that was a hand-me-down and it was 8 years old.
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand what's going on. So what are you working on now? Do you have another Air?
I have the Mac Mini, which is like the MacBook Pro,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just the hard drive. And so I already had a screen and a keyboard.
Yeah.
So it's about $500, for the Mac Mini, and it has the same processor as the MacBook Pro.
Oh, maybe I'll just do that. I
It
have
would-
all the.
Yeah, I just didn't have 2000 at the time, and I already had the screen and the keyboard and the mouse because I had an external screen because I needed because I'm blind.
Yeah, I have 3 of them. I have 3 external screens. They're huge because I am blind.
And in fact, I have 2 screens. So with the MacBook Mini, you can put 2 screens on it. I got an adapter,
Mm-hmm.
a US, not USB.
The C.
No, it comes with 2 C ones. The HDMI.
Okay.
Oh, I have a thing that plugs in that has a whole row of different.
Yeah. So
Plug-in
you can
thingies.
get it with a whole row of them, but you can do 2 screens, and it's fast. And I've had it for about a year and a half.
Excellent. That's what I'll look
So
into, because I can take my
my-
iPad with me on the fly if I need to.
I iPad all the time also. Mine is I look it up because I'm like, I don't know what I have. I have a MacBook Pro with the with the M1 chip, which I really like because it's super fast. I don't know what the deal is, but whatever and then for me, Liz, you can probably get this too. I told the guy at the Apple store I was a coach, and he said, he goes, oh, well, we have a teacher discount. So I got the teacher discount.
Excellent. And I actually do have a teacher in the household, so I'll use my husband's if it doesn't work.
So when you go online, you can do the Education Apple Store.
Mm-hmm.
They don't check.
Excellent.
That's,
can
I did
order
not
it.
know that.
Yeah, because I have a gazillion kids, so I'm like, so you go to the education section.
Mm-hmm. I think she's going out. Can you hear
Yep,
it, Gina?
she turned into an alien.
That's okay. Good information. She'll
Yeah.
come back.
Exactly.
Now I know I can get this resolved today without going through the whole.
Exactly. Let's
Decision
go dig into
fatigue.
some stuff, guys.
Yes.
All right. Let's dig in. And Bree, I know you can't look, and Kay is connecting in. It was an interesting week. And so the interesting week's been playing out in my head for this interesting week, and I wanted to dig into it. But I wanted to open up with cross seas. Have you guys ever seen this pattern where the ocean looks like a quilt, like waves? So I have these two pictures here of kind of what it looks like, but the third one on the bottom is from a much higher viewpoint, where it just really looks like crosses or squares. The ocean looks like squares. Have you guys ever seen the phenomena where the ocean looks like squares?
No.
Okay.
I've
I'm
seen
so-
circles.
Okay. I am so blessed and lucky in my life because I've gotten to live, I've only been landlocked a couple of times, Arizona and Nevada, and for just a couple of years. And all the rest of my life, I've lived very close to the ocean. We had a sailboat growing up. Last, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 months ago, whatever, Greg and I were out on Outer Banks and we got to see the ocean, a complete sea of glass, which I actually sent that picture to everybody because we just pulled over and we played in it. It was the
That
most
was
amazing thing I have seen in a long time, but I've also seen this pattern, this cross pattern. I never knew what it was. I always thought it was really interesting. So here's my question. If you were out on a boat and you saw this or one direction and you saw big waves the other direction, which direction would you head your boat? And you have to go one or the other. Would you head into the quilt pattern or would you head into the large waves out of curiosity? What do you think? Did I lose you? Oh, good. You are there. Okay.
I would do waves, and I
You
don't
would
really
do
know
it.
why, except I'm going waves.
Okay. All right. Kay, can you see me? See us and what we're doing?
Yes,
Kay, I can't hear you. There you are.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, you just don't want to see me.
That's fine. As long as you can see my screen, I'm totally cool with that, darling. So would you head into the quilt
I
pattern or do you think you'd head
can.
into the big waves?
The waves.
You go waves also?
Because I don't know anything about the quilt pattern. Are there
Waves.
sharks in there?
Oh, there's sharks in there. You cracked me up. There's sharks flipping everywhere, honey.
It's a legitimate question.
Oh,
Okay, so here's what this is. I thought this was so interesting. This cross pattern is where an old weather pattern and a new weather pattern meet. And what is happening is the waves are caused, these are not gravitational moon waves, which we're all used to with tides and all that kind of stuff. These are waves that are caused by wind. And what happens when you have an old weather pattern and a new weather pattern is it pushes it at this cross angle like this. This is one of the most dangerous oceans you could ever be in. It is nothing but rip tides, crosswinds. Your boat can't go one direction or another. It will seesaw through and you'll get pulled. And if you're swimming in it, you can get pulled in a rip tide and pulled way out to sea. It's really, really dangerous. The thing of it is, cross waves are about this tall. I mean, they're tiny little waves. There are not these big, huge things that would normally scare a person. And I really thought about, morning, Pia, We're talking about cross waves, this weather pattern that occurs on the ocean sometimes where the ocean looks like a quilt, and how very dangerous it is. And I want to relate this over to fear in real estate. And the reason why I wanted to start with cross seas is because whenever I've seen this pattern, I've never been afraid of it. I've never been in it. I've just been on shore looking at it. There's actually a place in France where this happens all the time because of the weather patterns there. Matter of fact, this top picture, this is the place in France that happens all the time where this happens.
Wow.
This cross seas happens. It's more frequent here than anywhere else on the planet, apparently. Anyway, and I thought about fear because I've had so many people calling me this week talking about fear, and I've dealt with it my whole life. I've dealt with it in real estate. I had to learn to overcome it when I was lead generating on a really high level. I had to deal with it again when I moved into the team leader role and I started to do agent attraction. And I don't really think about it as much anymore with the agent attraction side because I've been doing it so long. So if I do have a little bit of fear, it's a little bump and it just right back through again. But I actually picked up the phone and lead generated for real estate to have another business to sell the leads. And when I did, I was hit with mass fear. I was like, what the hell? I have done high level real estate lead generation for a long time and thought I had completely overcome that fear, but I have not really done it. I did it. I dabbled in it in 2017, but I haven't done it at a high level since 2011. I mean, that's from 2009 to 2011. It was actually closer to 3 years because it was the tail end when I left and went to Virginia. That's what I did it every single day. You know, and I thought that was a beast that I had already overcome. So, so I wanted to kind of talk about fear. And the reason why this relates in is because me personally, and maybe this relates to you guys also, picking up a phone is not going to flip and kill me. In the great grand scheme of things, I'm probably more likely, since I live here in Florida, to be hit by lightning. I mean, really, and I'm certainly more likely to be hit by lightning than get eaten by an alligator. On national average, something like one person a year gets eaten by an alligator or something, or alligator, which is tiny. Much more dangerous here in where I live to be hit by lightning, or when I lived on the West Coast to be into a large earthquake or tsunami. I mean, who knows, right? But not this. This should not be the thing that scares me. And it's that way across seas and waves. So then I wanted to look up big waves. And when I was a kid, we had a sailboat and we sailed all the time up in the Pacific Northwest. We would go between Lake Washington and the locks and then out on the God, my brain is fried. The big, huge inlet thing is called up there, the Sound. Thank you. And then we would go down the coast a lot of times. And Washington State has some big waves. I mean, that's a big ocean. It's not your gentle, beautiful, calm thing. It's big, huge, treacherous waves. And so I thought about, and I started to look up big waves. And I thought that it'd be kind of cool to go through waves, big waves, and then the lessons for real estate and fear. And it just really intrigued me. So let's dig in. The first rule of how you ride out big waves, and what I want to do, what I thought would be kind of cool to do is you guys just shout out at me like how this corresponds into real estate. So we'll dig into the first one, don't panic, just a flat out. So if you're dealing with fear in real estate, fear of lead generation specifically, or any other fear in real estate, having to deal with a client or taking on something bigger than you think, the first rule would be don't panic. Stay calm. Don't panic. Okay. The second one, the height of the waves. A boat can generally take a height of 1/3 of the boat's length. So if the boat is 60 feet long, it can handle a wave that's 20 feet high. Holy moly, that's huge. 20-foot wave is big. Boat can handle it. Obviously, with more seamanship, you can handle bigger waves, but the mast starts to go against you. 2/3 the length of the boat, that's really on the outside of what you can handle on a boat. Because once it hits your beam, you're toast. So the height of the wave, super important. So in real estate, if you were going to relate fear to the height of the waves, what would be a good like corresponding thing in real estate? Mhm. The first thing that comes to my mind would be something along the lines of, I've never done a huge commercial transaction. I've done a small one. I've done a small one. So can I do another one that's small or medium? Yes. If I was in something that was a huge commercial transaction, to me, that would be the height of the wave. And I'd have to like, okay, I gotta do something here, because me going into selling the resort in India by myself, that's way over my skill set at this point, of where I am right now today. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Number 3, ensure all parts of the boat are in good working condition. How would that one? Okay, all right. How does that relate to real estate? Any ideas on this one or anything going here?
Skills.
Kay's an alien speak. That's okay. It was really good, Kay.
Yeah, I know.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Go to the fuel tank. Driving a boat in rough conditions uses a lot of fuel. Is there any correlation there in real estate? What keeps your fuel tank full when you have to deal with things in real estate that are big, hard, scary, your big waves in real estate? What keeps your fuel tank full, or what fills your fuel tank? For PF, he should say a healthy breakfast.
I have a very unhealthy breakfast right now.
It cannot be any healthier than mine was yesterday. What is yours?
Burger King.
Oh, no.
You beat me. I had to go run yesterday and I had 2 doctor appointments with this in the middle of it. So I took off for the first one, grabbed my Starbucks, couldn't drink it until after they took my blood, came home, grabbed a piece of cold pizza, and then took off for my second one. So my breakfast was coffee and cold pizza, but I do believe Burger King tops mine. You win.
Yes, yours
I
was healthier.
I was expecting you to say Dunkin' Donuts, and I would have been all on board with that, PF.
Oh my God. All right.
That was yesterday.
Oh,
Excellent.
man. All right, fuel tank. So, when I ran across that lead generation, and I was going through in my head all the things that I used to do to prepare to lead generate when I was brand new, to beat down the fear, like my mantra, they love me, they'll list with me. Oh gosh, they'll answer the phone. You were a big agent before, you've done this a million times, you did it during the worst time in real estate that you could, trying to gird myself up, and it flipping was not working. And I found myself doing things like, I should go check the mail. I'm like, no, you should stick to your schedule. Your schedule says lead generate now. This is what you should do. And I finally turned around to Greg, and because his office is right across there. And I'm like, I'm going through what my agents go through all the time, and what I just got off of 2 phone calls to deal with. And it's messing with my head. Can you help me out here? And he turned around and he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, lead generating and for real estate. And he goes, I'm so glad you're doing that. I'm like, you are? And it's like, yeah, you're really good at that. I'm like, oh yeah. And he goes, no, you're really, really good. He goes, I've never seen anybody do what you've done. He goes, if you pick up the phone and you make phone calls, he goes, business happens like crazy. He's like, you're really good at this, that cold calling. And I was like, I am. And then I just did it. And it wasn't like the fear went away, because it didn't, or anything like that, but it gave me the fuel in my tank that I needed, which in this case, the internal talking was not doing it. I had to reach out externally and get fuel in my tank, and then go, all right, I can do this. So that was the fuel in my tank that got me going. All right, to ride out big waves, to keep the water out, close all the boats, hatches, and doors. Is there anything in here that sparks with real estate with y'all also? in dealing with real estate, closing all your hatches and doors.
Hmm.
A good transaction coordinator?
Oh, that is a great one. That is really good. That is definitely battening down your hatches. Really good.
Hmm.
I love it. You stay with your BK. All right. Slow down and angle the boat into the waves. So when the big waves of real estate are hitting, when you have your boat and you're going towards big waves, you can't take it sideways because it will literally do this to you. You can't take it sideways. You can't take it straight on either. And you can't take it at full speed, because if you take it at full speed, you'll go into the wave and you need to go up the wave to come back down the other side. If you go into the wave, you're crashing, it's crashing on top of you. You cannot do that. You take it at a 45-degree angle and you come at it like this, and then you can ride up and you can ride back down again. And it gives the biggest amount of hull to go into that wave and be able to ride that wave up and then back down again. So slow down, head into it at a 45. Any correlation there in real estate that you guys can think of?
Yeah.
What you got?
Being strategic,
Ah, that's very good, Bree.
being very
That is-
strategic.
Yep. How
I
do you-
don't think that you have to like the head on, like, I don't know how else to explain it, but just being strategic at how you approach it.
You're explaining it well.
And knowing enough to slow down. I think sometimes we run with the pace of the market and our clients all of the time. And it's, sometimes we just need to remember to slow it down so that we can be strategic and
Mhm.
come in appropriately or sideways, as Gina was saying. I think sometimes we get too wrapped up in the busy and the running that we don't necessarily say, let's take a pause here and survey the landscape, see what's going on and what's the best step to take.
And that's good advice for life. Like my therapist is always like, it's not about velocity.
Exactly.
And especially now, like, whereas before we could have gotten away with it, the market was so plentiful, but now you just can't.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Even yesterday with Kay, what did
Yeah.
every single one of us, we were all like, wait, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop, don't do this, just sit down, let's process, let's read, let's dig into our contract, let's think a little bit. Yeah. All right, keep the bilge pumps running.
Keep the what running?
Keep the bilge pumps running. So in the boat, if you start to take water, you turn on the bilge pumps, it pumps the water out, and you just keep it running while you're going through the storm.
Mhm.
Mm.
So you want batteries charged, and you want to know to just like, it's time to turn on the bilge pumps and get the stuff out. So anything there in life and real estate.
Like, don't stop cleaning house,
That's good.
like,
good.
going through what's not working and being efficient.
Yeah. For me, the one that came to me was I was doing taxes over the last week, and I just cleared off everything else off it had to get done. I cleared off everything else off my plate, and I kept everything pushed away. So I kept the water out. I'm like, no, water stays out. I have to focus on this right now. And this is all I can focus on. Everything else, you don't matter at this point. I can deal with y'all later. And then once I could get my taxes done, I did get my desk cleaned back up again, and I was good. But the big wave of taxes was over at that point. So it was just push everything else. So if I had a big problem in real estate, a really big issue in real estate, I would clear everything else out, push it all out. I'm going to focus in and deal on this. And then I'm going to keep the little stuff out until we can get this big thing handled, take care of, and then I can go back and go deal with little stuff again. Move your boat inland if possible. So if you've got a big, huge storm in real estate, can you move it inland? Is there a bit of retreating that can happen?
Yeah, you can retreat from, like, yes, I would say you can retreat, and you retreat from those things that you can control.
Mm-hmm. So if you can, maybe the big wave that you're facing in real estate, maybe is a big wave that you don't have to face. I'm not saying
Right.
don't lead generate at all. I'm just saying, I think an answer, a good one here also, I do know that, when I was lead generating on a regular basis for my 3 hours a day, and people would call me in between, like, you know, with, hey, Gina, my water heater went out or whatever. I used to be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go deal with the water heater and and I'd be on my phone and I'd be, you know, taking care of whatever they needed to be taken care of. And then I just stopped. I just was like, no, I have to lead generate. That's my most important job. The best thing I can do to sell your house is go get 10 more signs around your house and draw attention to all of it. So you need to like sit back a little bit till I can go deal with you. So I moved away from the emergency, which never really was an emergency. And then when I went back to it later, like, you know, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever, hey, how are you doing? You know, are you okay? They were always like, yeah, I got it figured out. I just called so-and-so and it's all good now. 99% of the time, that was how it happened. I
Mhm.
moved away from it. It really wasn't the big, huge emergency that, you know, they thought it was at the time. They were just used to, you know, oh, I got this problem called Gina. I have this problem called Gina, which is good because I want my clients that way, to a degree. You know what I mean? I want them, no matter what it is, that, like, I need a plumber called Gina. I want to be top of mind. But I need a plumber is not necessarily my emergency between 9 and noon.
Right.
So there's that one. All right. Number 9, prevent environmental damage by draining the fuel from the ships. So is any corresponding here at preventing environmental damage in real estate? When you're faced with some big, huge issue in real estate? Drain the fuel from the tank as the very unlikely occurrence of a boat fire.
So get your team leader involved if there is a conflict.
That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Anything else in real estate? Any like, have you guys ever had transactions blow up on you? And the propensity for environmental damage and a fire is really big. Your clients blow up at you or anything?
Mm.
Drain the emotional out of it. Drain the emotions. Liz, you talked about this yesterday.
I did, and it's, I want to say it's probably happened more in my legal space than it's happened in my real estate space, but it's that same thing. It's like people get heightened and they create a lot of what I say drama because of fear of what's happening in the certain aspect of the situation. And it's just, you just got to come in, or I guess I've just trained myself to come in even keeled. Like there's nothing, it's like just X happens, period. Everything else is just drama around X happening. So what do we need to do to address X or resolve X? And I just kind of looked at it as, I can see the drama in the situation, but we just need to deal with the problem. So I kind of put that kind of self-talk in my head when that happens.
I love it. I also like this line here too. If your boat's fuel supply leaks, you as the boat owner are responsible for it.
Mm.
Isn't that good in real estate? Your client's going off half-cocked, you're responsible for that. Whenever I had, I am so serious on this, whenever I had transactions where the client on the other side was, bleh, I blame the agent 1,000%. I'm like, that is your fault. Get your client under control. I don't know how to, I don't care if you don't know how to figure it out. Your client's out of control, get them under control. Because that's our job. Our job, the reason why we exist on the whole planet Earth is because it is an emotional, tense, high knowledge thing to sell your house safely and to buy a house safely. There's all kinds of extra layers of things in there, legal, contractual, emotional, all of that, not to mention physical with moving and everything else. I mean, there's just a lot tied up in I think shelter is Maslow's highest thing on the hierarchy. I think it's shelter, isn't it, Bree?
Yeah, I
Um,
think
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's shelter.
Yeah.
There's so much. I mean, that's like people's number one. Shelter on his hierarchy comes before food, and water, which I used to disagree with. But if I'm in a place where I can go 3 days without water, but if I'm in a place where I'm gonna freeze to death overnight, if I don't have shelter, all right, fine, shelter wins. It's the highest thing. That's why we're there. That's why we exist, to have the knowledge and the expertise and to be able to keep the emotions pushed out of it, our own emotions and their emotions. We have to be just like the airline person when the plane's going all wonky, to be completely calm so that our clients can look over at us and go, oh, well, they're calm. It must be okay. And that's our part of it, because we're responsible if that fire gets out there or our fuel drains and we poison, fish or whatever. And the last one, make a distress call. Every boat has to have a radio. Talk simply and slowly when making your distress call. Make an announcement, your name, the coordinates, and a description of the emergency. I love this one. Wait 10 seconds for a response before repeating your plight. So I really do love this one. If you're in over your head, you've got help. You've got help. You don't have to go into things that scare the death out of you and big scary situations in real estate without the help and assistance of everybody around you. Okay, conclusion. I love this. A boat will be at the mercy of the sea while there are wind and big waves. It must be built strong and sturdy enough. In a bad storm, the captain can change the path. But I love this last line. A well-maintained boat, a trained and experienced crew, and a healthy dose of good luck are all that you need to win a battle against big waves. That's it. So for me, my lead generation at the time was a big wave. Turns out it really wasn't. It was a little teeny tiny wave, but at the time it was a big, huge wave. And I couldn't do it. I was just completely and utterly stalled out. Now I will say this, my stall was only, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of putzing around and my head swirling around and all that kind of stuff. Before I finally was like, oh, you have another human being, reach out and get some talk here, because other human beings can see the forest for the trees, which you can't see right now, and to get that kind of straight. And then it wasn't that the fear went away. I had to do it in fear. So the first call was god awful. Nobody answered, but it was just like, just to even do the first dial, which is stupid. But it really, really was. And I really had all that stuff swirling around inside of me and trying to deal with all of it. And it felt overwhelming, like I was in a big wave. Never was. I was in a little teeny tiny wave. I was in a little, that was it. I did do my calls. I think I talked to like 6 people in that 2-hour time frame. I have like 3 follow-up calls, I think, came out of it, which was good. It's not great, it's good though. But for the first 2-hour session, that's good. So that was my fear in real estate, and thought I would just share what I went through, which I know is what we all go through. And those have been the techniques that I have helped me. Do you guys have things that have helped you as you've gone through? I do not want to pick up this phone. And what has
Yes.
helped you? What has helped you? Liz?
Okay, so my thing is with picking up the phone is the same. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to pick up the phone but I'm trying to serve somebody, right? I'm trying to find who I can serve. And I always flip it and say, okay, I have no problem on the other side of the equation when somebody needs the help, picking up the phone all day long, making sure I got resources in place for them and all the information we need to get the transaction done. Yet I have a problem. So I keep saying to myself, so what's your problem with picking up the phone and asking people who needs help? And I
Yeah.
just need to flip my mindset on that, because it's like, I'm willing to to pick up the phone all day long to find the services they need once I know what it is, but I won't do it for myself to find out who needs my help. And when I've kind of flipped it like that, I'm like, okay, you just need to see who might need your help today. And it might be nobody, and that's okay. But you won't know that until you start dialing those numbers.
Yeah, that's very good. It's not about you. Flip it over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. That's very good. What else have you guys done to kind of get you through?
I think it's like Liz was saying, the mindset, just starting. And like, I have no problem helping people, like I have to like flip it, like Liz says.
Mm-hmm.
Waiting tables has helped me overcome my first fear of real estate calling. I get jitters every time I go to a new table.
Really?
Yeah, I get jitters. And
Oh,
'cause I got
I
with it.
love this. Go on.
And I just recently, and I haven't done it for in a decade, so I'm doing it now. I just found out that I'd be out every other server with a number of perfect scores from guests. I didn't even know that my guests had, like, for guests to, bad service talks more than good service. So the fact that they stopped and did, and I got perfect scores. But in my head, every time I go to a new table, I'm like, oh my God, am I going to do it right? And I do the same thing in real estate. And I was like, well, if I can do this in something that's, serving food we're in the hospitality business and we happen to sell food. And so I thought about that. I was like, in real estate, we're serving.
Yes.
Yep.
And go to the bathroom. Sorry. No, Brenda's like, in my bathroom. Okay. So anyway, a little known bonus of waiting tables was the fact that I could do it, and get over the jitters, and it's physical. Like
Mhm.
when I'm serving, I'm like, so anyway, mindset.
I really like that, because whatever we came from in life, those lessons translate straight into real estate.
I
Whatever-
so love that you've had that experience, Brianna.
Yeah.
Me
So love
too.
that.
I had no
That's
idea
awesome.
that, yeah, that a waitress would ever be nervous. It was never, ever crossed my mind.
Well, and I love that you thought you were, I'm not doing this right. And the feedback you have was like, you're doing it more than right.
Right. I
That
beat
was just awesome.
30 servers.
Are you the newest?
Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. But I mean, the real estate mindset helped me with the waiting tables mindset, but the fear was a little bit different because it was physical. But the fact that I was able to do it and apply on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah.
And $1, so I got my nails done.
That's awesome.
Coming from a girl that doesn't have any, and I really don't care about that right now, but I do need a pedicure really, really.
Yeah,
bad.
just a manicure.
Oh.
But,
I need to take time and go do one. Maybe Saturday, we'll see. Anyway, all right. Anybody else? That's so good, Bree. Thank you so much. PF, got anything you want to add to this? Nope, just keep on chewing then.
and I
Bree-
want to share
Yeah.
this with the manager of the restaurant.
Say that about what? What'd you say
I
again?
want to share this, the whole thing that you just brought us through with
Yeah.
with the manager of the restaurant, because I think it could really help the other servers.
I'll email it to you.
Yes, that's
Actually, you'll have
awesome.
the Zoom too, but I'll put the boat questions up on the Zoom also. So, yeah. Yeah, that is really good. I think it could be, it's fun to take something and translate it straight over into something else, just like you did with the waitressing. I love looking for those types of lessons and then how they correspond to everywhere else in life or whatever it is that we're dealing with. There was an old book called What Color's Your Parachute? Which
Yes.
Love that book.
yeah. So it's, yeah, and I do too. I really do too. And I've always just sort of instinctually thought that way. But then if you take that basic concept of your skills are transferable, life lessons are transferable. All this
Mhm.
stuff is completely transferable. It's life, y'all. We're doing life. It's not just, this is my little component over here of real estate, and this is my little component over here of, kids, and this is my little component over here of whatever. It's life. It's good lessons all the way through, and they correlate. And if our eyes are open and we're paying attention and we learn to face things that way instead of allowing fear to do this to us, if instead we're like, all right, this wave is only 1/3 the size of my boat and I can face it and I need to head into it the right direction and I need to be strategic and I've got help if I need it and I've got a good crew and a good ship. You are where you are right now today with whatever opportunity is in front of you that is terrifying you, which could just be this as an opportunity, whatever it is, you are there because you placed yourself there and you're perfectly prepared to be able to deal with it. Even if it doesn't seem like you really are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there with that opportunity in front of you. You'd be somewhere else with some other opportunity in front of you. I don't know where that would be, but it would be somewhere else.
And just one point I want to put on that, Gina, because you're so right. And when it comes to the fear thing, I also try to do what I do with the whole drama thing. It's like, even if it shows up, because it shows up a lot for me and anxiety too. Like, so even if it shows up, just recognize that it's there and don't let it drive. Like, don't let it drive your actions and emotions. Like, Elizabeth Gilbert wrote a great book. What was it? Oh my gosh, now I'm going to forget the name of it, but she talks about her road to becoming a writer. And she said anxiety and fear used to come up for her all the time, particularly when she was writing these books and getting ready to go pitch them somewhere. And she put the metaphor of like getting in a car, like she's driving to get to this goal. And fear and anxiety would show up all the time with her. And she'd recognize that the emotions were there. Like, I'm feeling jittery right now. But instead of letting them drive, she's like, you can get in the back seat because we're still going and I'm still in charge. So it was kind of like, I think the book is Big Magic or something like that. But when she said that, I'm like, that is so true, because it's not like the feeling ever goes away for me.
Right.
It's just like the drama in a situation. It's like, now I realize it's there. And I'm like, but I'm still going to do this anyway. Because they're always going to just come along for the ride.
Yep.
Right.
And I wrote down your book name. So I was frantically writing down because I'm moving into writing more in my life. And so that's really intriguing. You're so right. The fear isn't going to go away. And also, we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotions. If anything, we're closer to our actions than those two. Because show me a person that acts one way and speaks another, and I will believe the actions over the speak if they do not correspond directly. So if anything, we're more of our actions than that. And it doesn't, the feelings are not going to kill us. All feelings have a lifespan. They all have a lifespan. And sometimes the lifespans are long. Sometimes the valley is really, really deep. Or maybe the hill is really, really tall, or maybe the good wave is really long, but it still has a lifespan. And I do not want to live my life being controlled by something that is not me, only has a lifespan, is a temporal thing at best, is a temporal thing, whether good or bad. I want to live my life deliberately and purposefully in the direction that I want to live my life. And if that means that I want to go to Tahiti and there's a wave between me and Tahiti, and I know enough now because I got my knowledge to stay the hell out of those cross sea waves, even though they're cool, I'm flipping going to Tahiti because it's worth it. And and I also know that when I do things out of fear, the exhilaration that I have on the other side, or if nothing else, if not that, when I got done with that session of lead generation, I felt really good. There was no major difference in my life. I didn't get a deal out of it. I have 3 people that want me to contact them in the future, which again, good thing, but it's not like somebody rained down $10,000 on top of me for doing that. But I had this good feeling of accomplishment. I did what I said I was going to do, and I'm going to continue doing what I say I'm going to do. And that's my life that I would rather live, rather than one being afraid of a wave. It's a wave. I'll live.
Mhm.
Yep. So, all right, there's some things happening in Pia. Oh, his chair's swinging around. I was like, what is going on over there? All right, y'all. Thank you for an amazing week. Thank you for letting me ramble on about my fear that I dealt with this week. And I hope you guys have amazing and fabulous and wonderful weekends, and that whatever waves are coming at you in your life, you face them strong and you come out on the other side.
Gina, you were so awesome, and everyone was so awesome today. I'm gonna make it rain on you.
I love it. Thank you. That is
Thank you, guys.
fabulous. I will
Yes.
take it.
Way to start the weekend. Thanks, Pia.
Exactly. Thank you, Pia. Thank you, Gina, and everyone. This is awesome. I
Thank you.
love these calls.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys have a great week. Talk later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.